And here in the United States, President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has been convicted by a jury for lying about his drug use on a form when buying a gun, which is illegal. A 12-member jury in a federal court in Delaware found him guilty on all 3 counts, making him the first child of a sitting American president to be convicted of a crime. The 54-year-old could face up to 10 years in prison on the first count, 5 years on the second, and another 10 years on the third count. The U.S. Department of Justice Special Counsel David Weiss, who was appointed by former President Donald Trump, brought the Hunter Biden case, and he spoke after the verdict. He said Hunter Biden's gun trial was not about addiction, but the illegal choices that Hunter Biden made.
No one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant. However, Hunter Biden should be no more accountable than any other citizen convicted of this same conduct. The prosecution has been and will continue to be committed to this principle.
The trial in Delaware featured testimony from Hunter Biden's ex-wife, former girlfriend, and sister-in-law, who all provided firsthand accounts of his escalating addiction in the period before and after he purchased the gun in October of 2018. Meanwhile, Hunter Biden's legal team aimed to demonstrate that he was not in fact using drugs at the time of the gun purchase and had no intention to deceive. The judge overseeing the case is yet to announce a date for sentencing, but did mention that it would happen within the next 120 days. After the verdict, Hunter Biden was seen leaving the courthouse holding hands with his wife and mother, First Lady Jill Biden. Meanwhile, the president flew to Delaware to see his son, who greeted him at the state's Air National Guard base in Newcastle, Delaware. President Biden said he accepts the outcome of the case and would respect the judicial process as his son Hunter Biden considers an appeal. The commander-in-chief added that he and the First Lady would always be there for their son and that nothing would ever change that. Ironically, at a gun violence prevention summit only hours after the verdict was rendered, President Biden showcased his administration's efforts to cut illegal gun trafficking and reduce gun crime.
This is most important. The only industry in America that has immunity are gun dealers. We got to end it. End it now. No, I mean it. We got to stop it. We got to stop it and stop it now. More children are killed in America by guns than cancer and car accidents combined.
Now, Hunter Biden's conviction comes at a politically fraught time for his father, who is in a tight race with Donald Trump for re-election this November. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, who was convicted of falsifying business records just last month, rejected any suggestion that the trial of his political opponent's son showed the U.S. justice system to be politically impartial. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.
Fan of Italy's famous cuisine? Well, we are serving it with a side of diplomacy. As G7 leaders gather in southern Italy, Vantage is taking you to the heart of the action. What's the agenda? Who's invited? And how is Italy preparing for it? Catch the special edition of Vantage throughout this week, only on Firstpost. Fan of Italy's famous cuisine? Well, we are serving it with a side of diplomacy. As the G7 leaders gather in southern Italy, Vantage is taking you to the heart of the action. What's the agenda? Who is invited? And how is Italy preparing for it? Catch the special edition of Vantage throughout this week, only on Firstpost.